Welcome to Lesson 10 by Chess Achieves. In this lesson, we'll be learning another tactic called pins. Pins are used to control your opponent's pieces. By locking them into place, you can keep them from going to other squares. Should your opponent actually move the piece that's pinned, you'll usually result in a material advantage for the person doing the pin. In the example that we show here, the white bishop has an attack along the diagonal, attacking the rook. Behind the rook sits the king, and because they're along the same diagonal that the bishop is attacking along, we say the rook is pinned. This is actually an example of what's called an absolute pin because the piece behind the rook is the king. The rook is not allowed to move. If your opponent were to move the rook, you would tell them that this is an illegal move and they have to put the piece back. So in this particular example, the rook is pinned, it cannot move, so it's effectively controlling your opponent's piece. In the next example, we're going to look at the same bishop attacking the same rook along the diagonal. But in this case, it's the queen that sits behind the rook along the diagonal. In this example, the rook is allowed to move. However, if the rook moves, the bishop would simply capture the queen on the subsequent move. So we say the rook is pinned in this particular case. The black army does not want to move it because if it does, it will lose something more valuable behind it. So pins are a great way to control your opponent's pieces. In this particular example, even the bishop for the rook exchange would be a valuable exchange. In this example, it's the white army's turn. The white army has been attacked by the black bishop attacking the rook on the A1 square. The white army wants to use the pinning tactic in order to pin the bishop against the black king. Do you see what square you would move the rook to? Hopefully you see moving the rook to the D1 square would create a pin on the bishop. The bishop cannot move as this is an absolute pin. The black army will move its king on the next turn. On the following turn, the white army rook could take the black bishop for free. In this example, we're showing a pin in reverse. It's something called the skewer. Here, the more valuable piece is in the front being attacked by the white bishop. In this case, it's the black king. The black king has no choice but to move out of the way. When he moves out of the way, the white army will then take the black rook on the next turn. So a skewer is simply a pin in reverse. The more valuable pieces in the front, it wants to get out of the way. When it does, hopefully you'll be able to make a good exchange by capturing the piece that's behind the more valuable piece. Pins and skewers are very valuable tactics for your chess game. In the example shown here, the white army has attempted to pin the black bishop against the black rook. This is a seemingly good pin. However, a technique to get out of a pin is to simply counterattack. Look for ways to counterattack. Is there a way a black bishop could maybe give check to the white army? In this example, there is. The black bishop can simply go to the B4 square and attack the white king. This is giving check, and the white king will have to get out of check by either interposing the rook, which would be a poor move, or moving the king. The best square would be to move the king to the D1 square. If rooks were exchanged, this would result in a draw, as a king and a bishop versus a king is not enough material to win. Look for counterattacks if your pieces are pinned in order to remove the attack on the pinned piece. A very powerful combination to use with pins is attacking a pinned piece with a pawn. The white army has had the opportunity to pin the bishop against the black rook. It's now the white army's turn. The white army could choose to attack the pinned bishop with a pawn, thereby allowing the white army to gain a material advantage for a pawn for a bishop. If the bishop should move out of the way, the white army would get a free rook in the background. The key technique here is after you've pinned a piece, if you can attack it with a pawn, it can become an extremely powerful combination. To recap from this lesson, pins and skewers are powerful tools you should use in order to control your opponent's pieces and to attempt to gain material advantages. You should look to pin your opponent's pieces throughout the game. When possible, try to attack pinned pieces with pawns. In order to get out of a pin, look for ways to counter-attack your opponent. Counter-attacking with check can be very powerful, but you can also attack another piece in an attempt to get out of a pin. Look for these techniques throughout your game.